Almost every country in the world is in debt. The United States owes over $38 trillion. The European Union around $14 trillion. Japan nearly $9 trillion. Even oil-rich nations are in debt. Economic powerhouses like Germany and China too. But here's the strange part. If everyone is in debt, who exactly gets paid? That's where the story really begins. This isn't just economics. It's a system where money, power, and history collide. And let me say this from the start. Debt isn't just a burden. It's the foundation of the modern world. Wars, crises, economic booms, and collapses. They all sit on top of this invisible structure. Now here's where it gets interesting. If you follow the chain of debt long enough, you discover something shocking. The world doesn't really owe money to anyone. The world owes money to itself. But that doesn't mean everyone benefits equally. So how did this system begin? Let's go back to the year 1694. England is at war, the treasury is empty, no gold left. The king turns to merchants and says, "Lend me money and I'll repay you through future taxes." And right here, something revolutionary is born. The system of national debt, and what we now call government bonds. To manage this system, the Bank of England is created. This was a turning point in history, because now governments could spend money they didn't yet have. This model spreads rapidly. France adopts it. The Netherlands refines it. The United States uses it to fund its revolution. And from that moment on, debt is no longer weakness. It becomes a sign of power. Fast forward to today, the world carries around $315 trillion in total debt. And every 100 days, another $1 trillion is added. So who holds all this debt? Let's take the United States as an example. Out of its $38 trillion, most of it is held by American banks, pension funds, insurance companies, and even its own central bank. So in simple terms, the US owes most of its debt to itself. Yes, China and Japan are creditors, but China holds only about 2%. So when people say America is owned by China, the reality is far more complex. And this system isn't just American. Japan lends to the US. The US lends to Europe. Europe lends to developing nations, and those nations invest back into Western markets. In short, everyone is lending to everyone. Imagine a table where every player borrowed their chips from the next. And there's only one rule. No one gets up from the table. But where does the real power of this system lie? In central banks, like the Federal Reserve or the European Central Bank. These institutions print money, buy government bonds, inject liquidity into the system, which means every unit of money is someone else's debt. And now, the most important truth. These debts were never meant to be fully repaid. Yes? You heard that right. Governments don't plan to eliminate their debt. What do they do instead? They take on new debt to pay off old debt. This is called rolling over the debt. And that's how the system survives. Because investors aren't waiting to be paid back. They're waiting for trust to continue. But what happens when trust breaks? We've seen it before. Greece, 2010. Argentina, Sri Lanka economies collapsed. People lost jobs. Lives were turned upside down. And here's the darker side of the system. Debt may belong to everyone, but the benefits do not. Interest payments flow from the bottom to the top, which means the system makes the rich richer. And in the end, we face one simple truth. This system runs on one thing: trust. If people ever say, "These debts can't be repaid," that's when the system collapses. Because debt, at its core, is this: a promise too big to keep forever. Yet everyone believes it will be kept, and that belief is what keeps the entire system alive. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. Because history always has the answers.